Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and another Animal Artists Collective video. I'm really excited to be taking part as a guest again this round, along with Bonnie Snowden and all the regular members of the collective. So don't forget to go and check out all their videos after you've seen this one, and I'll put links for those in the description box below, as well as details of the collective and the art supplies they used in today's painting. So the Animal Artists Collective is a group of artists here on YouTube that was founded to provide a platform for emerging artists, promote positive messages for animal welfare and conservation, and connect artists to their communities. The original artwork produced for the Animal Artists Collective is always made available for sale, and at least 50% of the proceeds are donated to a non-profit animal conservation organisation. Artists in the community are extremely welcome to participate unofficially in the collective by either creating their own videos and or artwork under that month's theme and posting it on social media, and I'll leave information on all that down below, as well as how you can vote on future themes via their Facebook group. The theme for this month's round is ungulates, and I was so looking forward to this one as it includes one of my absolutely favourite animals, the giraffe. So I'm really looking forward to sharing the painting process of my mum and baby giraffe piece with you today. But before I talk a bit about the painting going on in the background, I'm going to tell you a few giraffe facts and what the word ungulate actually means. So in case you weren't aware, the word ungulate comes from the Latin unguis, which means nail, claw or hoof. So an ungulate is any large mammal with hooves. Examples include horses, camels, cows, sheep, goats, deer, pigs, hippos, rhinos, giraffes, and many more. Now, ungulate species are separated into two orders. The Perissodactyla, more commonly known as the odd-toed ungulates, which include horses, rhinos, and tapirs, and the Artiodactyla, or even-toed ungulates, which is a much larger group of animals covering over 200 different species. Examples of these include cows, sheep, goats, camels, and of course our giraffe. The giraffe has two main hoofs on each foot, and these together are called a cloven hoof. Now, giraffes have got to be one of the most impressive mammals that live on Earth, but whilst the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN, currently recognises only one species, there are also 9 subspecies, with 7 other species extinct. So the IUCN's Red List of Threatened Species is once again drawing attention to the plight of the giraffe. While giraffe populations in southern Africa are doing fine, the world's tallest animal is under severe pressure in some of its core ranges across East, Central and West Africa. 3 of the 9 subspecies are now considered critically endangered or endangered. Concerted efforts by the African government and conservation organisations under the guidance and support of the Giraffe Conservation Foundation have resulted in increasing numbers of 2 subspecies of giraffe, the West African and Rothschild giraffe, and as a result have been downlisted to vulnerable and near threatened respectively. So the charity I've chosen to support with the sale of this painting is the Born Free Foundation. They are currently working with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation in Niger, and I'll talk more about how you can buy this original painting and help support the great work that's being done at the end of this video. So ordinarily, giraffes are native to Africa, inhabiting savannas and woodlands, but each subspecies inhabits a different area with diverse types of vegetation. And whilst giraffes used to roam most of the continent, now all subspecies dwell in more defined areas as well as national parks. They have a herbivorous diet, with their food source being leaves, seeds, fruits and flowers of woody plants, and of course not forgetting their favourite food, the acacia tree. Not only is this too high up for most other herbivores to eat, it also has dangerous thorns which giraffes are adapted to manage with their thick saliva and prehensile tongue, which incidentally is about 18 inches long. That's half a metre. The giraffe also uses its tongue to swat away pesky flies, and its dark blue-black colour helps to protect it from sunburn. And if you thought that long tongue was impressive, a giraffe's most distinguishing characteristic, its extremely long neck, is about 6 foot long. Giraffes are the tallest of all land mammals. The males, or bulls, may exceed 18 foot in height, and the tallest females, or cows, are about 4.5 meters. This means they can browse foliage almost 6 meters from the ground. But despite its length, the giraffe's neck actually only has 7 vertebrae in it, which is why it has to spread its forelegs apart to reach the ground with its head. Other distinguishing characteristics of these animals are its long legs, its horn-like ossicones present in males and females, and its distinctive coat pattern. Giraffes live in herds of related females and their offspring, or bachelor herds of unrelated adult males, but are gregarious and may gather in large aggregations. Males establish social hierarchies through necking, which are combat bouts where the neck is used as a weapon, and if you've ever seen this on television, it's pretty vicious. Dominant males gain mating access to females, which bear the sole responsibility for raising the young. After mating, females have a gestation period of around 15 months before delivering a 6-foot calf. This baby giraffe can stand within half an hour of being born and can run alongside their family after only 10 hours. Young giraffes hang out in nursery groups until they're about 5 months old, resting and playing together whilst their mums forage. One female will tend to stay and look after the young. So far as predators go, the African savanna is not an easy place to survive, and the impressive size of giraffes does not save them from the dangers around. They may be preyed upon by lions, leopards, spotted hyenas and African wild dogs, but the kick of a giraffe is strong enough to kill a lion, and with legs that long they can also gallop as fast as 35 miles an hour. With outstanding eyesight and a good vantage point, giraffes can keep a good lookout for approaching predators, but it also means that the predators can easily see them too. However, the giraffe's number one predator is not a lion or a crocodile, it's us, humans. Habitat and food loss, civil unrest, illegal hunting and poaching for their tails, and human-caused climate change are causing today's 40% decline in giraffe populations. So that's why we need to support those organisations that are fighting for their survival. So with all that said, and before we go into talking a bit about the painting process, I thought I'd just share with you a few fun facts about giraffes that I found really interesting. And the first of these is that the giraffe's age can be found in its skin spots. So the darker the spots, the older the giraffe, and no two giraffes have the same pattern. Each one is unique. Now let's talk blood pressure. The blood pressure of a giraffe is twice that of humans. Why? Well, mainly because the heart has to pump that blood such a long way. There are also valves in the veins of the giraffe's neck that close when the giraffe bends its neck. This helps to maintain blood pressure so it doesn't pass out. The next one is to do with water. Giraffes conserve water very well and only need to drink water once a day or once every few days, a bit like their fellow ungulates, the camel, and this is mainly because they don't sweat or pant when they're hot. Giraffes also spend most of their lives standing up and sleep standing up too, spending just 10 minutes to 2 hours a day asleep. They also give birth standing up, and when born, the calf falls 6 foot to the ground. Yikes. And my last fun fact is that a group of giraffes is called a tower. I really like this one. I don't know where it came from, but I like it. So on that note, let's talk a bit about this painting. I decided to go bigger than I usually do for this one, as I found a really lovely reference photo of this mum and baby giraffe and wanted to be able to get in some good detail in their facial features. I started with an outline sketch on cold pressed paper and began by first painting in the eyes using ink again, as this is something that I've enjoyed doing lately. I like putting in the darkest part of the painting first, as it almost acts like a benchmark for the other values in the piece. I also like the fact that once dry, the ink is permanent and so will stay put when I add the watercolour afterwards. With the ink part of the eyes done, I used the wet in wet technique to drop in some base layers for the giraffe's fur, allowing them to mix together on the paper. It's quite a pale base to this one, but helped the form of the giraffes to stand out from the white of the paper. So far as backgrounds are concerned, I wanted to keep this one clean, crisp and bright, so no experimenting today I'm afraid, but I quite like the simplicity of it. I used 4 main watercolours for this one: transparent ochre, neutral tint, sepia and transparent umber, but also added in burnt umber and a touch of burnt sienna as well. Once I had my base layer down and had a better idea of the values, shadows and colours I was going to use, I could start to work on building up individual areas of the giraffe's head and face, starting with the horns, and rather than work on one giraffe at a time, I painted them together to make sure I used the same process on each layer. I focused on the spots next, and I was so looking forward to painting these. In fact, there wasn't one area that I didn't enjoy in this piece. But for the spots, I again pre-wet each spot and dropped in colour onto the wet paper. Each spot was different, so I painted them one at a time, and paid close attention to my reference picture to try and make them look as natural as possible. Then I moved on to the mane of the giraffes, and I used a pointed size 8 brush for this. I put in some hair detail by starting out with the lighter colours and gradually adding in dark hair strands afterwards. This piece really was all about the layers, so it was important to make sure each layer was dry before moving on to the next. But working on both giraffes together meant that there was always something to work on. I moved on to the giraffe's ears then, being careful to leave the white of the paper for those tiny hairs on the inside of the baby giraffe's ear and the highlights on the mum's ear. I think one of my favourite parts to paint on both giraffes was actually their noses, which surprised me a bit. I wanted to replicate the softness that I could see in my reference photo, so I made sure to use clean water to soften any edges, while still making sure I had enough contrast between the lightest and darkest areas. To check my values were right, I also tried something I don't do very often, and that is to change both my reference photo and a snapshot of my own painting to black and white. Taking colour out of the picture, as it were, can really help you to focus on areas that need changing. I found this technique especially useful for general shading on the face and neck of the giraffes, and could then go in and make slight adjustments using light transparent glazes. Getting the values right in a piece as a whole is really important to creating something that has depth, which in turn helps to make things look realistic. That said, I wasn't aiming for something photorealistic, as I still wanted the painting to have that watercolour look and feel to it. Sometimes it's hard to know how much or how little detail to actually put in, and when to stop to avoid overworking a piece. But sometimes all it needs is a short break to reassess. I came up against this a bit in the details of the folds of the giraffe's skin, but think I came to a happy medium by hinting at detail without getting too bogged down with it. It was quite an ambitious piece for me, I think, mainly due to its size, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and for a change it does kind of match up with the image I had in my head for how I wanted it to turn out. But before I go into the last few finishing touches, I did just want to mention that I'll actually be out of the UK as you're watching this, all being well at least, so it won't be up in my Etsy shop to buy until I get back on the 18th of July. However, if you are interested in owning this original A3 size giraffe painting and supporting the Born Free Foundation, then please get in touch either in the comments section to this video or on any of my social media. Links will be listed in the video description. Failing that, I will be making sure it's available on Etsy as soon as I return home. I'll also include a link in the description to the Born Free Foundation itself if you'd like to make a separate donation or are interested to learn more about their work. So to finish up this painting, I took a step back and did another check on my values before going in and making any final adjustments. So this meant adding some shading and darkening up the area underneath the baby giraffe's neck, and also going over that main area as well as the darker spots on the left hand side of that baby's neck. I also added some darker value to the area under his nose, as this area had dried quite a lot lighter than I wanted it to be. The same thing applied for the mummy giraffe's neck, as well as some of those spots on the top part of her head. I finished off this piece by going back in with my dip pen and ink just to add in details of the eyelashes and whiskers. But with that, this painting was complete and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you did, to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and please do go and check out the other artists' videos, give them a bit of support, as I know they'll be well worth a watch. Take care, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!